What I'm going to try and do today is break it down for you, not by telling you what foundational wellness is or wellness made simple is, because you've heard that before. But what I'd like to do with you is share with you the research behind foundational wellness as a concept and what we like to call wellness made simple, which is VMG, E Omega, and PB Restore. And that research, I know this is being recorded. I don't need you guys to necessarily remember everything I'm talking about. You do not need to be me, nor do you need to understand randomized controlled trials to share foundational wellness with someone. But what I want to do is build within you a sense of confidence in these products, that they have been tested and tried, and we know the results that you and your customers will achieve when using these products. If you think, just as a way of introduction, these three products solve a multitude of issues for most people with modern day lifestyle, especially Western, European, modern day lifestyles, where we have nutrient deficiencies, vitamin deficiencies, microbiome deficiencies due to our, for lack of a better term, industrialized food supply. So we're going to talk about the research behind these three products to build your confidence in using them and sharing them and helping people to use them. So let's dive right in. Uh-oh. There we go. So wellness made simple. So here's a human clinical trial. There were 50 people in it, and its primary endpoints were bioavailability and bioretention. We'll talk about some in vitro bioavailability and a pilot comparator study. We're doing a much larger one as we speak. And we're going to talk about this idea of powered by essential oils. So here's that pilot comparator trial where we compared VMG to AG1, Centrum Adults, and Power Greens in their ability in vitro for calcium to be absorbed. VMG was set as the gold standard. So the amount of calcium absorbed by VMG was set at 100%. When we did the clinical trial, what we found is that AG1, one of our main competitors in this drinkable vitamin space, only 10% of the calcium was absorbed with AG1. Centrum Adults had 0, and that's because Centrum Adults doesn't contain any calcium, which I just put up there to show you how ridiculous the vitamin industry is. Calcium is, of course, incredibly important to our health, especially here at doTERRA, where we have so many women. Power Greens, another competitor, was approximately 20% or 18.7% of VMG's absorption. So when we talk about VMG, there is a clinical trial comparing VMG to major competitors in the space, and we way outperform them in calcium absorption, vitamin absorption. This was done in what's called a KCO2 cell model. All you need to know is that VMG gets into your cells and into your body the vitamins and minerals that it delivers. Most vitamins and minerals are using technology that is so old that only a tiny fraction gets in, and that would be what AG1 and Power Greens are doing. So we've showed you this data before, but I just want to show you again that when we look at human being absorption of vitamin C, so this is microplex VMG human bioavailability comparison to vitamin C, or VMG. So when we use our VMG vitamins and we look at vitamin C absorption, we're 4-fold greater when we use the liposomal technology that is in VMG than when we don't use that technology. So what we did here in this study is we compared liposomal technology with essential oils versus no liposomal technology used with the same dose of vitamin in human beings. And you see the green curve, the area under that curve is 4-fold greater than the non-liposomal vitamin, or the kind of what you would see in a regular vitamin. So that non-liposomal absorption rate is really what most vitamins do. And with vitamin C absorption, which we know is so important this time of year, that technology allows for fourfold greater absorption of the same dose. So it's the same dose of vitamin Z. One is just liposomal technology using, and the other is not using that technology. We did it again with a fat soluble. So vitamin C is a water soluble vitamin. Vitamin E is a fat soluble vitamin. And here what you notice is when we use the liposomal technology, we're 5.4-fold greater than when we use regular or standard technology vitamin E. I could not believe this data when I looked at it. It was so remarkable to me. If you see the endpoints, how different they are. The endpoints there, you can see that vitamin E levels in the human beings with the gray curve, they have fallen below 0, whereas the vitamin E curves using the liposomal technology are way up above and haven't really fallen yet. I was kicking myself like crazy because we didn't do a 12 or 18-hour time point to see when actually our levels fall. It's really quite remarkable that out at 8 hours, vitamin E is still available for your cells to pull from the bloodstream and use as they see fit. Whereas with other vitamins, they're barely present at 4 hours and fall off to nothing at 8 hours. That's the benefit of using this incredible technology. Now, again, so we talk about vitamins, minerals, we talk about water-soluble, fat-soluble vitamins, but now here we're talking about a mineral, an iron, and I showed you earlier calcium, another mineral. So when we look at iron, which we know is so important for our red blood cell production in the body and other functions, and importantly in the immune system, iron is incredibly important as a cofactor. We're 6.3-fold higher in our blood levels using VMG than when we use non or regular technology vitamins. 6.3-fold. And again, it didn't fall off. Again, I was kicking myself. Geez, why didn't we do a longer time point? We didn't because nobody anticipated that the technology would produce this amazing of a result. Please don't worry. We're going to do that study this year out further. But I also want to make sure that you guys are aware that although VMG has this amazing technology, it's not available everywhere in the world. And LLV is an excellent option. It has very good technology. And to remind you of that technology, we have essential fatty acids in E-omega with a carotenoid blend, CPT essential oils. It comes with the vitamins and minerals that you need, as well as a cellular longevity blend and antioxidant blend. Remembering that the technology used in LLV so many years ago when we first put it together, it combines our vitamins with nutrients and yeast in a protallo matrix that allows for a better digestive process to take place. Alpha CRS with all of its antioxidant DNA protection, and as well as Z-omega, the fish oil product that you've used for many years. Just been given an upgrade in VMG, but LLV is still a world leader in the vitamin technology business. VMG has just upgraded it. Now, if we move forward through LLV and discuss for a moment E-omega, we get to this concept of powered by essential oils. So E-omega was essentially Z-omega, but on steroids, meaning we have upped the dose of the fish oils within E-omega to make and meet the FDA qualified health claim. We have within it the ratios of EPA and DHA that allow for that health claim to be made. And that health claim can be made by you. It's on the PIPs for E-omega, and you can make it today. We also did a human clinical trial with E-omega, where we looked at almost 50 people again, And we looked at resting heart rate and diastolic blood pressure, two of the main cardioprotective benefits of fish oil that have been shown in fish oil in the past. We also looked at omega-3 blood levels in human beings taking E-omega and epigenetic findings. And here's what we found. First, E-omega decreased diastolic blood pressure statistically significantly in healthy people. And you can make that claim right now online. There's a human clinical trial for you that allows us to make this claim. So this data is unpublished, but it's on the doTERRA Science website. Also, we are able to decrease our resting heart rate statistically significantly when we use E-omega. However, one thing you need to understand in this clinical trial is we compared E-omega plus to E-omega without orange oil. So we created two products essentially. One is our E-omega plus, which contains wild orange oil, a therapeutic dose of wild orange oil. And the other is an E-omega, but without the wild orange oil. And when we did that, we gave them to human beings and compared the drop in their heart rate as well as the drop in their diastolic blood pressure. Everyone, both groups, both who took the E-omega plus orange oil and those who took E-omega without orange oil, saw drops in their resting heart rate and diastolic blood pressure. But E-omega plus saw a further drop. This drop with fish oil alone did not reach statistical significance, meaning that the drop seen by fish oil, though clinically relevant, might not have been due to the product. It could have been due to chance. With E-omega plus, the drop was so significant as to be able to say that it reached statistical significance, meaning that in people who took E-omega plus wild orange oil, their resting heart rate and diastolic blood pressure drop was due to the product and not to chance. That is why I am so confident in E-omega's ability to do what we are describing here, be cardioprotective. So that means that your heart rate, your heart, by dropping that level every day, beats thousands of times less a day. And every beat of that heart is able to squeeze more blood and be more efficient because it's not pushing against so much of a pressure head with your diastolic blood pressure. That's what's so important about E-omega plus. Also, we looked at every single participant in the trial and measured before taking E-omega plus and after being on it for the 6 weeks what their levels were in their bloodstream of omega-3s. Every single participant saw an improvement in their omega-3 levels. So you can guarantee to your patients that they can see that improvement and that they will have those clinical benefits. If we move on to now PB Restore, the third pillar in our Wellness Made Simple foundational wellness platform. PB Restore is a world-class microbiome product. I'm an infectious disease doctor. I understand these products really well. The technology used in PB Restore is second to none in the field. You have right now, in my opinion, the best microbiome product available in the market today. So we did a clinical trial on PB Restore, and we used a digestive quality of life questionnaire, which has been validated in multiple clinical trials, to measure somebody's quality of life about their digestive health. And what you see there is before PB Restore, everybody's scores were quite bad. And then with PB Restore in the gray, they all improved and came down. So they were able to do more physical activity, their appetite improved, they were not inconvenienced or physically uncomfortable. That's that third one. These two dots mean that it's statistically significant. These were really significant improvements in people's lives that they were able to detail by taking this medication. For instance, this one here is use the restroom less than I wanted. And so much improvement seen with PB Restore in that overall survey. The next thing we did is we looked at what is called an overall gut score. So we collected the stool of everybody who participated in the trial before and after being on PB Restore, and then measured the diversity scores, the level of butyrate, and compared it to what an ideal gut microbiome would look like. Here's some examples of that data. One patient started their journey with a score of 35.5, not so great. After 1 month of PB Restore, they'd increased to 52.8. Another person started more in that normal range at 50, but after taking PB Restore for a month, improved to 68. Another person started off really, really poor in their with a score of 20. They were in the lower quartile and improved so remarkably afterwards. That's a big significant move. So that's Wellness Made Simple. A couple other clinical trials just to make you aware of that we've recently completed, Dr. Stevens and I. Our Mito2 Max trial recently completed, and we saw reductions in inflammation markers and an increase in RDW, which basically says that red blood cell and oxygen carrying capacity had improved in the body. We also saw improvements in our epigenetic clocks and our system clocks, which we've made you aware of in the past. So here's that data. Before Mito2 Max, their CRPs were high. After Mito2 Max, they decreased. Before Mito2 Max, their MCV in their red blood cells was low. After Mito2 Max, their mean corpuscular volume of their red blood cells, or the size of their red blood cells, has improved. They have better oxygen carrying capacity. And our epigenetic clocks also improved. Our epigenetic clocks for VO2 max, you may have heard of VO2 max, which is the efficiency with which you move oxygen around the body, improved taking Mito2 max, meaning that our blood vessels, our cells were functioning more efficiently and handling oxygen and carbon dioxide better. Our metabolic clock also improved, as well as our musculoskeletal clock improved with Mito2 max. Also, frankincense was a clinical trial we told you about at convention. Just by way of reminder, another large clinical trial where we looked at high sensitivity CRP, which had come down, as well as a GAD7, which is a marker of anxiety and well-being. It's a survey that we use to measure people's level of feelings of anxiousness. And what we saw with all of this is that after using frankincense duocaps, their well-being improved. You're very familiar with Serenity. This is one of my favorite trials. When you sleep better, daily life got better. You can see that here in the purple bars where everything improved after getting better sleep with Serenity. And then a recap of epigenetic claims and biological clocks. So our biological age decreased. That's a typo. That should be 36.0, not 39.0. So our biological age decreased on average by 6 years. Remarkable data. This one is the most impressive one to me. 32.94 from 40, an average age of 40. So by taking Serenity for a period of 6 weeks, your brain age got younger by 6 years. Or 7 years. So Justin Harrison used to say, if you'll give me $60 for Serenity in 6 weeks by taking it, I'll give you 6 years of brain age back. I kind of like that. So what are we going to be doing next? Much larger pharmacokinetic studies. These are dosing trials to look at safety and the dosing of essential oils that you all know and love. We're going to be testing new oil delivery formats in human beings to determine which oil delivery format. Is it a soft gel, a duocap? What is the best way to deliver essential oils to get the most benefit from those essential oils in our bloodstream? We're going to be doing a new trial where we're going to be comparing our foundational wellness products as a system and showing what they do, but we're also going to be comparing our foundational wellness products to competitors within the marketplace, which will be really exciting. And then we have new trials on convention products with new publications that we're working on as well.